Whoa, 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 whoa. Hi. All right, that's fixed. Hello. Good Friday to you all, and to all a good Friday. What's up, everyone? It's Friday. I'm excited. You're excited. We got all sorts of people here. The Blind Jedi 40. What's going on? Venti 800. Hello, Dragonfire. What's up? Good afternoon. Officially, because it just switched over to 12 o'clock. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful Friday. I know my Friday's going pretty good. We're going to have a little bit of Project ADD today, I think. Jason will be joining us here momentarily. I think he's finishing eating up a little piece of pizza or something. And then he'll be in here. Yeah. Exciting. What are y'all doing for the weekend? Anything fun? Any painting to be had? Leviathan, nice. Oh yeah, I gotta go pick up Leviathan tomorrow with Jason. We got the plans to do that. Like those big droid squads? Thank you. Paying a team for Majestic 13. What is that? I've never heard about that before. Majestic 13. Very happy with how my small adjustments to these guys turned out. I think they look a lot better with that slightly more vibrant red and the little bit on their back of their head head painted. Did Jason make a start on his comic books? He bought bags and boards for everything. I don't know if he's bagged and boarded them yet. But I know that he has the stuff to do it. Yeah, it's a start. I might offer to help him out with it a little bit this weekend. I don't know what his plans are. All right, starting on these shoulders with a little bit of burnt red. New game from Vincey V and Uncle Adam. Well, that's cool. I gotta check it out. I heard that they were working on a game. I just didn't know what it was called. I'll have to check it out. Miniature agnostic skirmish game. Skirmish game, excuse me. From Snarling Badger Studio. What a nice day for painting, folks. I am excited. What's up, Brulig? How's it going? Getting started on today's festivities. Sans a little bit of Jason for a minute. He will be here momentarily, I'm sure. So happy with this red. I was really unhappy with these guys before. They just felt like they needed something, and the red really helps punch them up. So I'm very stoked about that. It was a nice feeling getting a project to really feel good. Nothing quite like it. There. You know, sometimes I really like having 2 models on a base. 3 though? Nah. Hi Phoenix. CM Dower. How's it going? Not yet July and you're in the 90s? It's not yet July and we're in the 110s. Come on now. 90s are rookie numbers. It's quite hot outside. Generally speaking, not a fan. Robots, yo, what's up, Scrumbly Dumpus? Where I live, we are in a drought alert or whatnot. Oh, that sucks. Hopefully that drought alert goes away pretty soon. Tis going to be quite hot this next week. Paint Liquor, there you are. You, sir, are a little delayed. I'm plugging my way through Malazan. Book is very good. I'm enjoying it very much. Again. I also found out that a show that I really liked on Hulu got a new season and it's up already, which is super dope. I don't know if any of you have watched The Bear before on Hulu. The show about a prodigy chef that whose whose brother passes away and he comes home to work in the family restaurant and it's basically just a nightmare. It's a really good show, to be honest. When I watched it for the first time, I was kind of blown away. So I'm very excited for season 2. It's gonna be really fun. Probably watch that the rest of this weekend. Man, Paint Liquor, you're reading real fast. Unless it's the first time that happens, not the second time. Because it does happen, I believe, twice in the book. This little pop of the red on the shoulder. From the bold pyro red over this burnt red. Oh, and here he is.
No.
Hello.
What?
Oh, welcome.
I am not here.
What do you mean?
Not here. Not it.
Not it?
My 5-minute lunch break is over.
At least you got the pizza.
So I need more than 5 minutes for lunch, I've learned.
I mean, you give everybody else quite a bit more than 10. Or 5, even.
Mine was 20.
Oh, okay.
I had 20 minutes. Hello. How are you?
You seem to be doing quite well. So far.
Did I make a start on my comic books? No. I mean, I bought the bags and boards.
Yeah. That's a start.
I found 2. Holy crap. On my phone. I found 2 copies of the first ever appearance of Ghost Rider that may be right now, I think next to, it might be the 3rd most valuable comic in my collection, maybe. It turns out. I didn't know that. I was looking at values on Comics Price Guide. I subscribed. I was looking at CPG and just going through Marvel titles and stuff, and I forget what it was, Marvel Tales or Marvel Presents. I think it's Marvel Presents. Mm-hmm. And Marvel Presents number 14 or whatever is like, all the Marvel Presents are fairly low price. And then there's one that's like just really big, because I'm just scrolling looking for the big numbers, right, to see if I have that issue. And I see big numbers and I look over and it's the Ghost Rider one, and I'm like, I think I have 2 of those. I do have 2 of them. That was good.
Nice.
That was a thumbs up.
I feel like that's going to be a very regular occurrence in your.
A lot of them that I thought would be worth a lot are like $12 books, which is not bad.
Yeah.
But they're like $12 books.
Yeah.
So. The Bronze Age stuff is unless it is a key issue that has somebody really important in it, then they're usually
not really worth much. Yeah.
But I do have some of I have a copy of the first ever appearance of Kang the Conqueror in Avengers, I think, which is worth quite a bit. So.
I mean, luckily you have a lot of the ones that are worth a lot of money.
Yeah. Out of that age of stuff, yeah.
Do you have other ages of comics?
We found a bunch of Batman and Superman Golden Age stuff.
Oh, cool.
But I don't know that they're worth anything. I mean, all the Golden Age stuff is worth more. That doesn't mean they're worth a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have 20 or 30
so
action comics and detective and all that kind of stuff.
What's the cutoff again? Forget what the cutoff is.
60s somewhere. I think that Bronze Age is like 68 or 70 to 80 or something like that. I don't remember.
Okay.
So what's going on, everybody? Hello.
It's Friday.
How we doing? It is TGIF, for crying out loud. I like it.
It's gonna be a wild Friday.
That blue name is killing me. It's the Blind Jed. Blind Jedi. Okay, got it. Welcome. Glad you found us. First time chatter. Good to see you. Yeah, Majestic is the new one from Adam and Vince.
Yeah.
Ba-bump.
Yeah, I was curious because I hadn't heard of it. I knew that they were making
their goal is to release a game a year.
Oh, it's ambitious. I mean, I guess it's easier when you're not making
Paint liquor.
A lot of work.
Reading the worst book ever. I finished it.
Oh, you finished it?
I made it through and I finished it. So. It's not the worst book ever. I'm just trying to get a rise out of Baby J.
Yeah, I like it. Okay.
Price checking some old Pokemans.
What were you price checking, Paint Liquor?
Oh yeah, you know about that stuff, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I know. Oh. I know too much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know too much.
Paint Liquor says, I have no idea who this guy who isn't here is. What?
Talking about you. Because you said you weren't here when you walked in? Oh, from a few years back? Okay.
You're in a drought alert, Phoenix? That sucks. I think we're perpetually in drought. I think that's just part of living in the desert. Right?
Yeah, it's like, I don't think I've heard anything about that happening here, but I'm sure it happens.
You don't hear about it being drought because it's always drought.
Yeah.
You hear about it when it's like, hey, there's no drought alert right now.
Like, oh, that's interesting. And gets classified under...
You never know it because, like, you know, we used to have controlled irrigation throughout the entire city. Now it's very rare.
Yeah.
And you can just do whatever, whenever.
Well, I think in places where you're always dealing with drought issues, I'm sure that things are well situated to not have it be a problem.
Ridgecraft, thank you for the 2 months. Good to see you. Piano, no. The spian of plastic. Thespian of plastic. I'm like, that's... So no spaces hurts me.
Yeah.
I usually start in the middle and work out towards the edges. So thespian of plastic makes more sense. But there's a the spiano plastic,
yep.
Or the spian of plastic, and then thespian of plastic.
I think
I got there eventually.
Exact same reaction.
I got there eventually. What's happening? I will always remember you now, though.
Yeah, I will never not remember that name ever.
I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
What's up? Words are hard.
Words are hard. It is. Holy crap. Talking not easy.
Yeah, you should. All you have to do to figure that out is look at me. Try and hear me say things every once in a while. It's an entertainment.
Oh, baby J. It is a never-ending source of entertainment for the rest of us, though.
Yep.
We're happy. Happy to have you.
Oh. Rancid Vomit. What up? Hello.
What's going on, Rancid? How's everybody doing? Sliding head first into the weekend. I hope you are earning a lot of XP points for this week and ready to spend them in all the right places.
Heck yeah, I am.
I feel like mine need to go into maybe willpower this week. No. I usually try to put them into wisdom, right? But I feel like maybe this week I need like constitution or something. I feel like this week I've just been like on the burnout mode because there's been so much going on this past month. I keep saying this past week, but it's been so many weeks that it has to be at least this past month now.
Yeah.
It's not as small business as usual around here as it used to be.
Yep.
It used to be. This used to be easier.
I mean, I have, obviously I work here, so I have some sort of insight, but I can't even imagine.
We got the factory quote back for our first game today.
Ooh, exciting.
So that's big news. That's been taking up a lot of my time, getting everything organized, all the internal components and everything for the game organized and figured out and designed. We already have all the graphics and stuff, but just the design of like weight of paper and how we're going to print it gloss or matte or satin and what weave of paper and all that crap you don't think about. So we finally got all that off to the factory about a week ago, and they got back today. So we have costing for the game, which is nice. I sent that off to the designer. This game that our first game that we'll be releasing is a game where we're acting as publisher for a buddy of mine who is the game designer. We have done some play testing on it to help him out and done some organic changes to the gameplay just to shore up some of the things.
I played it. It's fun.
It's a fun game. And so now that we have cost and everything, we can nail down all the open-ended contractual stuff that we've got, and then hopefully all of that will come to fruition, and we will be having a game produced.
That's right.
We are going to be investing in making 2,000 copies. We still have to negotiate that, but I think we're going to be making about 2,000 to 3,000 copies of the game to start, so that we can then, when we go to Kickstarter, we'll have it to where the first 2,000 people will be wave 1 on the Kickstarter, and all of those games will ship at the close of the Kickstarter,
which is awesome.
Worldwide, so that we don't have to pull the standard Kickstarter nonsense of, hey, maybe in a year,
maybe you'll get your game ever.
You can have this game. No, if you do a Monument Kickstarter,
you will get it.
You'll get it
within a month and a half,
as if you just ordered it. Yeah, I guess that all just depends on how long the Kickstarter is that we run. 15 days or 30 or 20 or whatever it is. I think we're going to run it for 20 days.
Yeah, something like within a month.
So you would get it, within a month worldwide, I think. Very excited about that. I think we found a really kind of cohesive way that fits with our company mantra of putting our money where our mouth is. We don't expect you to buy something from us if we wouldn't already have invested in it ourselves. And so we're super excited to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys like the game as much as we do. It's a very fun game. It's a card battler, I think is the way to put it.
Really fun set of systems. I think card battler is a pretty good way to describe it.
I don't know. Board games are they have so many genre things that people say that people would laugh at me. They'd be like, that's not a card battler. I'm not in that board game world as much as miniatures, obviously. We are designing some miniatures to go with this game. There will be, I believe, 5 miniatures initially at 75 millimeter, more art scale miniatures that will be for 5 of the 12 characters that come in the game, and then as the Kickstarter grows, we will do more miniatures for more of the characters. Our intent would be to do all of the characters as miniatures. We are hopefully going to be doing those with Mindwork Games. So they will be fantastically sculpted and
they'll be
and cast resin miniatures to go along with each of the characters. It'll be a lot of fun. Sadly, you'll be packing this week, prepping up for the floors to get fixed. Oh my gosh.
That's the worst.
Miniac calls you the Spain of plastic. Okay, that works. But I think Thespian is easy now that I figured it out. Thespian, yeah. Yeah, we're very excited. We've been working on this for over a year. Not this particular game. Well, I don't know. No, not really. I guess it's only been probably 6 or 7 months with this particular game that we've been going. I sat down with my buddy here locally who is a video game designer. He has a video game company. And his publisher is the same company that did this game called Stray.
Yep.
The Stray Cat.
Yep.
That you're walking around. That was like some sort of big indie hit.
Ludicrously successful indie game.
Weird indie game, right? And I think they're called Annapurna Games or something like that. So his publishing company is Annapurna, and so his day job, of course, is to make video games with Annapurna, and as his publisher, and so he's got contracts. But the cool thing with this game is that if it's successful on the board, the tabletop, no pressure, Monument Hobbies. But if we can make this game a success, if people like you guys out there will listen to us and believe in us and try our games, and you like it because we've done a good job with it, then he's going to make it into a video game.
Which would be super duper.
How awesome would it be for our first released board game, card game, whatever, our first released game, to then be followed up within a few years with a video game version? And we've already been talking about ways to tie the video game to the cards on the table and things like that. So it could be a lot of fun to have. No guarantees. The game will come out. It'll be fun. That I can guarantee. The future of video game aspects of it and stuff is just something that's just really cool to think of. You know, you don't necessarily think of your endeavors always leading to these conversations. So it's
really cool to at least have the opportunity.
Yeah, right? Just to be working with a cool guy like Ben who makes really neat games.
He's a really nice guy.
And he's very passionate about his video games and just a very nice guy. So yes. Enjoy. Hope that you guys and gals enjoy as much as we do. And if you don't, hopefully you'll let us know what we can do to make it better.
Yep.
Got your Go Bag Evos. You plan on hobbying while you're in the hotel? Yep. Punisher, did we mention timing or pricing yet? So we just got back the cost factoring from the manufacturer, the factory that we're going to be working with, who makes a bunch of board games and miniature games that you're very well aware of with big companies like CMON. So we've nailed down quality control and all of that stuff. We just finally got back the quote this morning for all of the goods. It's a card game, so it really is just box and paper goods. There's only a couple of pieces of plastic in it, dice. There's like 3 dice for special occasion stuff, punch card, all the stuff that you got to do when you're figuring your game, all your game pieces. But it's just a game board and cards. And we got all the pricing back on that, so we can set a retail expectation for what it would cost in the store, and then we can do all of our Kickstarter factoring for what we'll do as a discount for backers on the Kickstarter, and get all of the marketing rolling on it now. So we're in a good place. We have a couple of questions for the factory on a couple of issues there, but I think we're in a good place on it. So as far as timing goes, right now what we're looking at is paying for all of the sculpts and molds for the first 5 miniatures, because as part of the Kickstarter, you'll be getting the ability to add in the characters that are on the cards that you play. It's a card battler. Think of it as a Tekken Tag,
Yep.
but as a card game. Very awesome. Really neat environment, really neat backstory and stuff like that. There's still some narrative writing that has to happen for the rule book and things like that, but all of the core game has been functional now for a long time. We've been alpha. We're into late beta. Like, I could have you guys could come here to the shop and play the game in its full deal. And so we feel pretty good about all that. We just need to now go. We're going to do 5 of the characters that are in it as 75mm resin miniatures, full detailed resin miniatures, so that we can, Jordan and I can paint them. You can buy them. They'll be part of the initial Kickstarter launch. They won't be exclusives. And then as kind of add-ons on the Kickstarter, as we unlock or go up and do that stuff, we'll be adding in different play mats with different environments represented on them, and then the other 7 of the characters will be released along the line. There's 12 playable characters that come in the starter box, and then if it does well, we'll do expansions that will come with a 75mm miniature and the expansion cards to have another character. So it's got a lot of potential if people love it, to add more fighters into the ring. So it should be a lot of fun. We're very excited about it. So as far as timing goes, though, I would hope that by end of year we have launched a Kickstarter. My goal would be to kind of like right before the holidays kind of thing. And if you weren't here for the beginning, the way that we were running it, I know that if you've been here for long, you know that I hate Kickstarter. Just me personally, I don't like Kickstarter as a business thing, because I feel like if you're going to create a product, you should invest in your product personally before you ask other people to. And so that's always been a real struggle for me. So we are going to make a minimum of 2,000 of this game in retail packaging ready to go before we launch the Kickstarter. So until we get those games in hand, we won't launch the Kickstarter. So that's kind of the timing factor that's going to drive the whole thing. I won't start a deal asking you for money until I have a lot on the wall. We will use Kickstarter more as a marketing tool and a pre-release and a way to fund some of the really cool miniature things that we want to do with it too. And then at the close of the Kickstarter, you will be able, the first 2,000 people that back, or some percentage of that, we'll probably send 100 of them out for demo, so let's call it 1,900 people that back, will get their game shipped as soon as the Kickstarter closes and funds. So it'll be a deal where, like Baby J was saying, you'll probably within a month of ordering get the product, is our hope, worldwide. So that's the way we're attacking these games, is that we will invest in making the game before anybody has really seen it other than playtesting it internally, and of course the designers, and then we're risk it. That's what business is about. We believe in it, we love it, we play it, and we're going to risk you loving it too, and hopefully you'll dig it and buy it. Should be fun.
But really, it is super cool.
Rancid says, hey, I'm a guy or gal who likes games. So am I. We should hang out more. Nutra, you miss a lot. Can you use your Twitch points to back it? That would be a hard no. Will the models be available separately? Yes. Spatsnat, yeah. After the Kickstarter, they will be. Although we might just have an all-in model bundle as part of the Kickstarter. We didn't really think about that. The problem with that is that the models will not be available at the close of the Kickstarter, so that feels a little bit weird to me.
Yeah.
But of course, like if the Kickstarter does tremendously well, Wave 2 won't be available at the end of the Kickstarter, because we will see very quickly if we go beyond the stock of Wave 1, we'll notice that, and then we'll pull the trigger and start manufacturing before the Kickstarter is over. I'll make another 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever we got to do. So it won't be long after that, but it does take 90 to 120 days to get product turned around, even when all I have to do is pick up the phone and say, make me more. So you do have to realize that if it is a resounding success, that there will be a portion of people that don't get their product at the end of the Kickstarter, because it'll just be like us selling out of stock of go bags. You just got to wait for the go bags to come back. But the miniatures, we will make some, and I'll have to talk with Mateo at Mineworks and figure out what the investment is, because I might bring in, a couple hundred of each miniature to begin with, or 50 of each miniature to begin with, just to have, so that there can be some that ship at the beginning. That relies on timing on his end, how fast we can get them through sculpting, because right now they're all in principal design. The characters are done for the game, but they're not done. They're just concept art as far as sculpting goes. They're not 3D yet. So, but we're getting going on that right now. I got back the drawings for the first character just to make sure that their artwork style was going to translate with ours, because the characters in the game are, I won't say cartoony, but it's a little bit more of a animated style artwork without being cartoony. And think like Batman.
Yeah.
Right. Batman animated series kind of stuff. So not super cartoony, but also more animated, style. And we have to figure out with the designer of the game, the original artist, who is the designer as well, he does all the art concepts. We have to make sure that as we go to sculpt in 3D, that we retain enough of the feel that he was looking for in the characters, but also enough realism and detail to make it fun to paint them. So
yep,
that's where we're at with the miniatures right now. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm having a blast. Nutrimentor says, what? A Kickstarter that could ship immediately? WTF, Jason, don't you understand how Kickstarter's supposed to work? Yeah, you're not supposed to get it for a year, but that's not how we like to do things. So it's just that. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, Spats, we'll do the models separately, especially like after the Kickstarter. We will have the models on the website as a normal item that you can buy along with that game page. There will be a page internal to the Monument Hobbies site that has our game publishing company in there, name yet to be revealed. And you will go inside as kind of a daughter site to Monument's parent site, where you can shop the game and all the game accessories and new card packs as they come out, as well as all the miniatures and things like that. So, Sapo, awesome. Gentlemen, what's going on? $12.75mm resin cast mini sounds scary for your wallet. Not really. I mean, it can be, right? It depends on how we're looking to do them. We're not looking for the miniatures to sell through retail, so we can keep the price a little bit less scary, because we are in control of the whole process, right? Annapurna does good stuff. You could certainly find a much worse partner in the space. Well, we're not partners with Annapurna. He is. We don't have anything to do with him. Let me clarify. We're not in that space, but.
What up, Tim?
And yeah, the idea is that for the Kickstarter, we can do them in resin. We can control the costs and make them very affordable in the Kickstarter, because they don't have to be like a huge profit center. It's really just a sidebar to the game to make the game interesting. And for those of us that are miniature artists, this game doesn't have miniatures as a play component, but that can. These 75mm, once you see and know more about the game as we start releasing videos on it and things like that, we've got the studio set up for the play space. We're about to add lights and cameras to be able to do all of the play video for it, as well as other games. And so once you see it, you'll see how miniatures can make it better, but miniatures are not necessary, right? It's like if you were playing Magic the Gathering and you threw down, a dragon or a sliver. Yeah. It would be cool if there was a miniature for a sliver you could put out visually, but it doesn't change the gameplay, right? Same thing here. They would be big avatars that you could put down for your favorite characters if you found some momentum there. So you don't have to have all of them. But also, if it was something where the miniatures start to catch on, then they are sized and detailed so that we could go to Cyocast and not have to do them in actual cast resin. We could get them cut and remolded in Cyocast and then reduce those costs significantly. Like these could be, $20, $25, $30 miniatures tops, kind of a thing. So, limited edition, me as an Inquisitor, I'll go for that. Have that made. I'm the Paint Quisitor.
The Paint Quisitor?
Tim, what's happening, man? I try not to ask too many when questions, but can you remind me what the anticipated tentative schedule for the next paints, fluoro, signature, Adepticon colors? Signature set, we have the paints we've been showing off, right? So we've been showing those off. We just got the bottle renders and stuff done yesterday, label and stuff graphics today. Labels are off at the printer right now for the actual paint bottles. We hope to be filling mid-July. We will, if all goes well, we will have them for sale at Gen Con at the booth, and then they will go live to the public on the site post Gen Con. So, second week of August, right? Stores will be ordering them mid-July, and then they will get the first shipment out, and then retailers, distributors will have them, beginning of August, so that they can be getting them onto shelves. So you may actually be able to buy them at your local game store before you can buy them from us. And then they'll go live on monumenthobbies.com shortly after, if not, right at the same time. Is it Tease Friday? I mean, I can tease you with whatever you want to be teased with. What do you want to see?
Comic books.
You want me to just sit here with a stack of comic books again?
I mean, didn't you threaten to do that on
I don't want to do that during a painting stream. It was fun, but...
That's true.
Is anyone going to Nova? These two guys... Jen, Baby J, and myself will be at Nova Open. We are sponsoring the Capital Palette Painting Challenge this year, and so we'll be at Nova. We will not have a booth selling product at Nova. The guys from Element/Artist Opus will have some paint sets of ours there. We're going to stock them up with paint sets, but not singles. So you'll be able to buy paint sets at Nova Open, and we will have the new Signature Series sets, if all goes well, at Nova Open, and in that same vein. So all 10, by that point, all 10 of our sets, plus probably the varnishes, because they're new. The varnishes come out at the same time, by the way. So this next set is 2 Signature Series and 2 varnishes. The matte and gloss varnish will come out at the same time. They're not signature paints, but they're coming out at the same time. That's because a lot of the Signature Series 2 paints are satin and gloss. So 2 of them, I say a lot, 2 of them are gloss, 8 of them are satin, 1 matte, and yeah. Is that right? 8.
I thought 2 of them were matte.
9, 10, 11...
That might have changed.
There's 2 gloss, 1 matte. That would be 9 satin. No, 8 satin and 1 metallic. That's
right. Because there is the...
And 1 metallic. Because the dark bronze is in there too. Dark bronze. Metallic.
Such a good color.
Oh, yeah. But if you have not been around, I will tease you with all the new colors. The names are wrong. These were just our working names as we were mixing and playing here. But dark bronze is not. That's correct. So dark bronze is dark bronze. Oil is petroleum brown. Warm white, but it's a heavy-bodied warm white, so it is a very thick paint. It may or may not come with a flip lid instead of a dropper lid. We still haven't decided that. Heavy titanium white, which is just like our titanium white, but it's more like a tube paste paint. It's in between. It's still fluid, but not as fluid as our normal colors. So it is an amazing paint for the loaded brush technique. That's what both of these are for. Advanced flesh tone, which is kind of a more yellowy, brownish flesh, as opposed to a pink flesh. Fantastic color. Crimson, which is dark crimson on the label. It's a gloss. These two are the 2 glosses, the petroleum brown and the dark crimson. So you can think like a blood and an oil effect is really what they are. But dark crimson, also just a fantastic color. Dark burgundy. What is called green oxide. I have it listed as verdigris, but it's green oxide on the label. Dark emerald. And then a dark green blue. Which this color is too green. Not quite that green. It's more blue. Is that right? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 2 more. What are the other 2 colors I'm missing here? Bone.
Oh, I have them here.
Brown gray. It has granite as an accent name on it because it's like an old GW color that was some sort of something granite. But it's brown gray and bone. It's light bone on light, but it's actually just called bone. That's thems. That's all 12. So, 1 metallic, 2 gloss, 8 satin, and 1 matte. Dark flesh tones as rust colors, yeah. Same kind of palette, a little bit more orange needed, but generally okay, yeah. Mahogany, burnt orange, burnt sienna, a yellow ochre, great rust colors. Is this a bone-like white? Brain wants to say ivory white, but you have that, and it's cold. Well, our ivory is not a cold color. It's warmer than neutral. It's just not real warm. Warm white is kind of like a more desaturated pale yellow. Right? You can see like this versus, say, pale yellow. Right? Pale yellow. Just kind of a desaturated. It's like a highlight for pale yellow, which seems weird to say because pale yellow is such a great highlight. But it's a more desaturated and vibrant pale yellow. And then bone is akin to the ivories, but with more of a grayish tone to it than a yellow, right? Well, that's all the flesh there. There's ivory. So ivory is warmer, right? And this is more into a neutral, kind of a tone of that, a little bit grayish, right? But gives you a really good base if you wanted to then build up your bone from that. So this and dark ivory are fantastic, right? You can see dark ivory, bone. Also just a good beige color, right? It's just kind of a good spot beige.
Huzzah, huzzah. I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
Whose britches are getting polluted?
Yeah, it's very similar to like an ice yellow, Sapo. You got it. Yeah. Very, very bright. Just a hint of yellow. It's what I've been using to highlight. I've been showing you guys the warm white in how I've been going through and doing the highlights on all of my gold non-metallic recently for both Dante and the Death Knight. So it's a fantastic color for spot highlighting yellow metallics, things like that, because it gets you really, 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 really close to white, even more so than pale yellow does, without blowing it out, right? So, good stuff. Kind of here, if I do a zoom in here on Dante, you can kind of get a feel for how it feels. So it gives a really, really good highlight color for anything you're doing that is in that yellow metal range. Bronzes, golds, things of that nature. It's a fantastic set of colors. Black Wolf, what's going on, man? Thank you for the 59 months, my friend. Good to see you. Avian, these are giving some nice workups. Yeah, the again, like the advanced flesh tone, when we compare it to, say, Shadow Flesh, you can see very quickly how we have a more pinkish tone with Shadow Flesh. Advanced flesh tone gets us more into like that brownish yellowy range. So it takes a little bit of the pink out, gives us a really, really great way to mix tones for darker skin tones. You can think even African flesh tones, Middle Eastern flesh tones, South American flesh tones, but just great like tan flesh, right? We have a color called tan flesh, but as you can see, like right here next to my skin, this is giving me that perfect mid-tone. Like look at the top of my knuckle, that's that color.
Yep.
That's always very hard to find because it's always a little bit too pink, which now means that your pinker flesh tones do such a better job of all of this layer of skin. That's where the blood sits closer to the surface. You get that flush tone around the nails, right? But you get that advanced flesh tone at all of the tops of knuckles and things like that. So fantastic color. Great stuff. Granite might be one of my faves out of this entire set. It's just another version of a warm gray. You know, we have our warm gray, right? Our warm grays are just a hint less yellow, I would say. So you wind up with a gray. You can see here it is a little bit more yellow, which is why we call it brown gray here, because those yellowish tones pull you into a brown thing. So we got warm gray. Having to do it all over again, this would be more of a warm gray than this one. But this is we've gone with brown gray on that one. And we can, obviously, by doing brown gray, we can go to dark and light as well. So it's a great color. What else? This one isn't a really good representation because the final version is different. The dark burgundy is really just a great way to get you a darker version of the burgundy we already have. It's a fantastic shade. Loses a lot of the red in favor of a lot of the blue. That moves you into a cooler tone of reds. Obviously, the heavy white is just our titanium white in a very thick paint. The verdigris, again, just a really good green oxide. Show you that next to, say, jade or bright jade, right? So it gets you more green than the jades. I think it's a color a lot of people have been looking for, saying that the jades are a little bit too blue for them. This puts you right down into that kind of, well, I mean, it is a green oxide. So instant verdigris. The dark emerald is bluer, right? So that up against dark jade, right? Same kind of general overall color, but it's dark jade with more blue in it. And then I've shown you the crimson and the oils before. They are spectacular. The oil is just a really good glossy effect paint sort of thing. It's going to be great for filtering, but it's also just great for oil stains and such. And then the crimson blood effects, right? You can see that gloss to it. Yeah. As opposed to like the advanced flesh tones and the satins. This is what we call satin, right? And this is matte. You can see this one, there's no reflection at all. Just a little bit more brightness on all the rest that we're calling satins, right? But then look at the glosses. They nearly shine themselves right off the page, right? So to give you an idea of how and then the metallic, of course, has in between. So you can see that the satin isn't super, super glossy, but look at it versus the matte. This is our standard paint matte, right? And you can look at all the rest of them and how bright they get under the light. So still not going to be tremendously abusive to you. Not, you know, the glosses are abusively glossy, which is great because they're for that style of painting. So.
Hello, Malev.
Mr. Malev.
Got a Malev in chat. Avian, what's up? Nutrimento, what's up? Gosu's here. Everybody's here today. Mo.
These paints aren't real until they're in the store. They're real. They're really real. We have half of them here. In their raw state, we could be bottling, but we don't have labels. But those labels are being made. Proofs should be approved today. Gabe's doing that as we speak. He's got the proofs on his computer, or will have. So Gabe is going. Jabe. Jabriel.
As we decided yesterday.
Yes, Jabriel is going to be approving all the proofs for the labels today. Hopefully, assuming there's no issues. And then once the labels are approved, they start manufacturing, and we're about 10 days out from getting labels. So 2 weeks from now, we'll be bottling, which is right on time.
It's happening, folks. It's happening.
Hooper Triplet, big fan of your paint. I'm just starting to think about painting minis coming from Gundam. Any mini recommendations to build up your confidence? Ooh, boy, that's a great question. I'm a rule of cool guy. I feel like what drives us to be creative and to do the best work we do is to paint something we think is fun rather than just like, here's a miniature somebody told me was a good starting point. So it's hard for me to answer because I'm going to be like, what do you like? If you like Gundam, maybe, I don't know that I'd paint a Dreadnought, but maybe Space Marines or something like that. I like the Space Marine size. Not everybody loves Space Marines, but, grabbing a Space Marine size model can still give you a lot of cool stuff to paint. And is a lot of good surfaces, shapes. It doesn't have a ton of texture on it, so it's a little bit less daunting. But if you're more into fantasy, then I would say pick what you like, man. There's different sizes of miniatures for everything you would like. Pick whatever floats your boat and go for it. Like I said, I am a true believer that if you enjoy the sculpt you're looking at, you'll do a better job of painting and have more fun doing so.
Yep.
Phoenix, if you're painting Stormcast Eternal, should you paint the entire army gold blue for Unity, or there's Stormhost colors for each unit that has Stormhost color? That's totally up to you, man. Malev says, getting another set of paints already? The paint train don't stop. Well, I mean, we haven't released a set since January, Malev. Jeez. The funny thing is around here we're just being able to take a breather from the first Signature release.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh.
And we're already releasing Signature 2. And Signature 3 is already in the works. So the next 2 sets after these 2 sets are already in the works. So we're set behind release date wise. We had hoped to have the second release out already, with the third release hitting around Gen Con or Nova. Second release will hit Gen Con. Third release will hit maybe for the holidays. Maybe. I don't think we're going to pull that off. Only because one of the artists that we're working with is still working on what colors he wants to put in it. So I think that will probably be a first quarter next year, like a January next year release for the next one. But the varnishes also come out, remember, with this next Signature series, our gloss and matte varnish. We took this eBay model, and I sprayed it with the gloss varnish through the airbrush, 1 coat of gloss varnish on there. So you can see it's nice and smooth, great shine all over. And then once I glossed the whole model, I did 1 coat of our matte varnish over the top of that gloss to knock it back. And you can see how well that did. It took this shine, and with 1 coat through the airbrush, took it back down to this. You can see it's still a little bit satin, but a second coat would just matte it out just like our paints. So shows the power of the 2 varnishes, airbrush ready, no thinning necessary, but you can add them to other paints and thin them, and you can take the gloss varnish, add it to our current paints to make satins, take the matte varnish, add it to other paints you have to make them super matte. So our matte varnishes are very, very flexible. Same with gloss. You'll find those released at the same time that the next Signature series comes out. So.
Woo! Lots of stuff.
You think that the special edition Baby J as a frightened Imperial Guardsman about to be eaten by a Tyranid would make for a fun mini diorama? He just said you're about to get eaten. He has no faith in you. No faith in the Emperor.
I mean, Emperor is pretty flawed.
Oh, here we go with the heretic daddy issues story again.
Our father is not the way.
Doing some demon shit, Venti? Awesome. If you do not know, Malev, the Ninjar himself, did a game with Black Site Studios. Awesome little adventure, sci-fi, kind of room-clearing alien threat game, right? Called Demon Ship. It's awesome. You should check it out if you haven't. I think Black Site's about to do the second release of it right now. Go to Black Site Studios. Malev, if you've got a link, drop it in chat. Support the awesome creators, Malev being one of them. Do it. They made a game. They have a miniature of Malev. So there you go.
Is it a Maleviture?
It's a Maleviture.
Yep.
Maybe. Yes.
I think that works.
It's a Maleviture.
Rolls off the tongue pretty well.
Malevitures. It doesn't sound like it has anything to do with what we do, though. It sounds like something that you would pick up if you were building a ship.
I mean, it's a sci-fi game.
So we don't live in a world of spaceships. I'm sorry. Oh, here we go.
That would be so cool.
Here we go. He's gonna start singing Sound of Music in a second.
No. Please save me.
A Maleviture. It's like a sculpture or something. Like, it's like something that's in the area where a chandelier would be. The Maleviture.
Jacob's a lucky boy. Of course he is.
Malev, today's launch, awesome. Yeah, so go check it out. Spend some of those hard-earned dollars on a neat, fun game. From Monsieur Malev.
Ugh.
Alright, I have some colors to make.
Y'all. Just a couple.
Dang it.
What are you working on? You're working on the silver?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a premix for your...
I do have this that I think is close. I don't remember. Let me
That
use
looks
it,
more like the one that you're using on the purple guy.
Yeah. Did I do him in dark blue or blue black? Can't remember. That's the same. That's what I want, so that'll work.
Yeah. Sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. Jeez. Ridgecraft is asking what color you used for the base for the metallic parts on the Dread.
Blue black is the base that I'm using for all my steel bits. And the power swords will be silver, so I'll probably go in with more blue on them. This is a color scheme that we've got worked up for our Blood Angels, right? So I'm only through the red and the base coating on the steel right now, obviously, but that's where we're headed, right? With the gold and everything, and of course that matches with our Dante, albeit that Dante is all gold.
Yeah, he's a big gold boy.
But yeah, so we're in that realm of greatness. Red, golds, more red, more gold, a little bit of steel, a little bit of jetpack.
Thank you, Paint Liquor. Painting white is a pain in the butt. For the next ones, I might just literally airbrush from the top down with some white to bring it back. Because this, pain in the butt. Takes way too long. No, I'm not about that life.
Not about that life.
Not about that life. In fact, I am so not about that life that I'm going to paint some dinosaurs.
Oh, it's not keeping you. It's keeping you occupied in the negative way.
Yeah.
If you like the way these Blood Angels are turning out, Ridge, you can check out the YouTube, because we've got a set of videos up there that discuss the paints I've used and the steps I've taken to go through and get these going with the red. Starts with a base coat of Payne's Gray and then moves up through faded or dark plum.
Paint this gold. And shiny.
What was that sigh for?
What a day.
What'd you do?
I just filled it on the turquoise bit.
What? I thought you were professional.
Apparently not. Apparently not.
Apparently not. Apparently they took that card away from me.
Yep.
Happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us. There is no guaranteed success in art. You just put the paint on the brush, hope for the best. Some days are better than others.
He gets that card back when he watches the Holy Grail.
No, he doesn't.
Aren't you supposed to be working, Hipster Gumby?
Ah, called out. How's that feel? Tell us. That's Gabe. Chat. Hipster Gumby is Jabe.
Mm-hmm. Well, you should be working. I think he went back to work because he isn't saying anything. Oh, there it is. Yep. Got you there.
Got some labels he's got to approve. Otherwise, chat's not gonna get their signature series on time.
Man.
There you go.
Chat's gonna give it to you now.
Yeah, you want to have a way to make chat get on you. Hey, chat, you're not gonna get new paints if Hipster Gumby keeps sitting here goofing off in chat. He says, I got good news and I got bad news. What's the good news? Do I want any of this? I don't know if this is good what I want.
Hey, I'm chat. I want my paints on time. Oh, sounds like you should convince good old hipster dummy.
Hipster dummy?
That was an accident.
Damn, dude. Take it easy.
Hey.
He was a very cool guy.
He took my nerd card away.
Well, was it deserving?
Nope.
I'm sure about that. I'm on Gabe's side here.
Wow. My soul is crushed.
No, it's not. You keep saying that. I'm used to these lies now.
But they're not lies. It's nothing but the truth. The only truth.
Chat, what do we think? Lies? Not lies. I'm going with lies. Can't disrespect the Gumby like that, he says.
Oh, but I can. Played Zombicide on Sunday at a game bar. Space version?
Like snakes and lattes?
Snakes and lattes?
That's the game bar
Oh,
that we have here in town. We're in, by the university, there's one.
Like
ASU over in Tempe. Snakes and lattes. I don't know about awesome, Jabe, but it's a cool place. The idea is awesomer than the experience, I think. I agree that the idea of going out and playing games with your friends is awesome over beers and food. Getting there, and I find generally that I would rather just do the food and hang out part than the try to learn rules and play games part. For me, at least. In the limited time that you want to sit at a restaurant. Now, at your house, totally different thing. Specifically your house, Jabe. We just invited the whole company to Jabe's house.
Yep.
Plus chat if you're in the area. Come to Jabe's house. We're going to play games.
Jabe's just like, oh no.
We're going to play games at Jabe's house. Jabe's wife is going to be completely caught unawares with this one.
Yeah, watch out, Jabe.
Yeah, definitely like beer and pretzels games. You know, we've had some good like trivia card stuff at Snakes and Lattes. That makes it fun. That you don't have to worry about too much. But I'm also, I think, too competitive in those regards, even with those kind of games. And so I think that's why I would be like, you know, I would rather just eat my dinner than have this be something where I feel like I am having to be competitive right now.
So, narrative games are met to you, Slow Fuse.
What's that?
Avian is confirming that you don't like narrative games.
I don't like nerd games?
Narrative games.
Narrative games. Like what? What's a narrative game? RPGs? What are we talking about? I don't know that I understand the question. Are we talking about non-competitive games? You know, the story with me and the thing to remember is that I played sports, right? And so I'm a competitive player, and I've always thought of games as a thing that you do when you want to win. You know, or if you're going to play a game, you play it to win.
Yeah. People always get kind of weirded out when I'm like, the objective of a game is by definition to win.
Well, they make games now that's not the case. It's just the experience, right? Like, you know, Shelby likes that Stardew Valley game. I don't think you win that game, do you?
Well, I'm talking more like board games.
No, but I mean, games become very mixed up in that the expectation for somebody that really likes games like Stardew Valley, then they can play that way on the board game front too, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that, you know, has some potentially problematic situations attached to it. If you invite me over. And I always feel like the bad guy. Because I'm like you, I'm with you. I'm like, yeah, I mean, aren't we, don't you play, the game is to win, right?
Yeah, it's like, there is a victor and there is a
Nobody took the Monopoly box down to lose. I'm just going to say it like that. And nobody put the Monopoly box on the table to have a nice family evening. It was to teach lessons.
That's so true. I have never once played a game of Monopoly without the express intention of crushing my parents into dust.
Right? Monopoly breaks all relationships.
It's amazing how many of those games that none of us play correctly. Have you ever like looked at the rules for some of those games?
Yeah.
And realized how
wrong
we were?
But we were playing for blood.
Yep.
Turns out it's supposed to be a nice game. Oh wow, this game's a lot more friendly when you play by the rules.
Because I'm pretty sure at any point when you hit and nobody plays it like this at their house generally, is whenever you roll on for Monopoly, whenever you hit like a plot of land or whatever, if you don't choose to buy it, it gets auctioned off to everybody else at the table.
Yeah, it goes to public auction.
Yes.
But everybody just plays until somebody else runs into it.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why the games take so long.
Oh yeah. No, it would go a lot quicker if the third person, because somebody auctioned, won it, and the next person landed on it and lost all their money.
Yeah. Yep.
Although I don't know that anybody passes up Boardwalk or Park Place.
I mean, they can't afford it.
That's true, right? That's true. Early game landing on them sucks.
Diplomacy has a reputation for ruining friendships. Yes, it does. But the most fraught game experience I had was with Subterfuge. You know, it's funny. A group of my friends,
games like Secret Hitler.
Yeah. They would always, on one of our particular friends' birthday, they would always play Diplomacy, and they would always just screw over the birthday guy. Like, they would always play Diplomacy on his birthday, and then he would always lose.
Yeah.
Every time, yeah.
Because everybody would gang up.
Yeah.
So much for diplomacy.
Exactly.
Diplomacy for everybody but you, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, look, we're all going to play a really fun game of Diplomacy without you.
always against me. Phil and you have legitimately had arguments in Secret Hitler. I've heard it can be very brutal for friends. I've never played it. But those games where you have to lie to, the subterfuge associated with them, I can understand. It's like, but you said, well, yeah, but I'm supposed to lie.
Yeah, it's like that's the whole point. Some of us are lying.
Friends, why did you lie to me? Because I'm trying to win the game. So you'll just do anything?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why if I'm out with Jen, I always play on Jen's team. Because win, lose, or draw, you never screw each other over. That way, I don't have to deal with any problems. Jen doesn't have to get mad at me. She's better at trivia than I am by like a long shot.
Is she a big trivia?
Well, anything that's like pop culture, especially, I feel like I should always just say default to Jen.
Yeah, Jen, would you care to answer this?
There are certain eras where I may know stuff, but I don't consider myself to be any kind of a
trivia person.
Yeah, it's just not something that is baked into my psyche of caring. It's like I don't care. I'll just make stuff up. That being said, a lot of the newer games take, their core rules and stuff have advanced beyond just standard board gaming, right? They get into more strategic combat games.
Oh, yeah.
Things like Risk, and, they take rules from that. And so then both of us are kind of lost because I play strategic combat games, so I have a leg up there, but Jen, that wouldn't interest Jen much.
There are definitely a lot of games like that exist. They tend to be a lot more of the like Euro style games.
Strip Jen Rummy. Chris played Secret Hitler once and never stopped. He's still playing that. Explains a lot, actually.
Interesting. Chris.
Explains a lot about Mr. Sushi.
Mr. Sushi. The man who has sushied on Christmas. Sushi does sound pretty good.
Been talking about it. Talked about it yesterday. I mean, there's sushi here. Just go eat it.
All you gotta do.
All you have to do is go eat it. Pretty good. There's a sushi joint downtown that's good. One that I told you about right up on Camelback that's good.
That'll probably be one of the first ones I go to. Although there is one on Central here that is supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Like King something.
Well, I don't know about that, but there is one that's on Central that's pretty good. You could go to the all-you-could-eat sushi buffet on Camelback. Don't do that.
I was about to say, I don't trust that.
Do that on a Friday so that you're over your dilemma by work on Monday.
Yeah. Like what? You don't want me to go on lunch on a Monday morning?
Chris is here. He heard what you said about him and Christmas.
Chris is here?
No. He's always lurking.
What a lurky
you pull him
man.
out of lurk by saying something about him. He's like Candyman. Candyman. Sushi.
What's up, Chris, Miss Sushi?
Chris is like, we gotta go hang out. I was like, yeah, let's go have dinner. And he's like, I'm going to St. Lucia. I'm like, bastard.
Why did you say we should go to dinner then? Obviously you can't.
Like, some of us can't take vacations to islands in the Caribbean.
Is that really where he's going?
St. Lucia? Got a family member getting married down there.
Oh.
Great place. I built a recording studio there.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
St.
A
Lucia?
recording studio and a big theater in St. Lucia.
Wow.
A customer of mine owned a resort. I don't know if it exists anymore. I was telling Chris about it. He owned Caribbean Hotel Management Systems, CHMS, and he had Hotel Antigua and Hotel St. Lucia that were all-inclusive resorts in the Eastern Caribbean. And he was trying at one point, he was British, and a buddy of his had a record label in Great Britain, and he was trying to entice his buddy to spend a lot of money at his resorts for recording records in these great locales, you know, because I think his buddy was talking about, because in England there's a lot of Jamaican music.
Oh, really?
Like, you know, relocated Jamaicans. And I think his buddy was trying to say, hey, you know, it would be cool if I had a place to, you know, take these people, put them in a neat environment when they're making the albums. So we did a installation down there. We did some work for him in Kenya. He had a club in Kenya, Africa. That was fun because it had, I think it was the only place at the time that had it was an all-inclusive resort that had a safari. You could go out and do a safari. We're on is that the East Coast? East Coast of it.
Yep. Baby J, you can go to all-you-can-eat sushi for lunch, but you have to clean the bathroom afterwards. I would just go home.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he'd be staying at work.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, I think I'll see you later.
Like, Chris, or Jason, you're going to have to do stream. I went to all-you-can-eat sushi on accident.
So that excuse doesn't work here. Just going to preload that into your brain pan. Going to throw that out there.
Jordan, you're not going to get away with that one.
It works once, so make it count.
All right. Sounds good. Of course, that would be the one time that I wouldn't actually get.
Hipster Gummy says he forces me to retell him the rules every time we play because he's never played before. Chris, do you hear how he's talking about you? You don't have to go home. You just have to go away. I always like that one. All right, we're closing up. You don't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Nutrimenta is asking if there are going to be more hobbyists testimonial commercials.
Yeah. There are 3 edits of the current commercial. Everybody that was in the 5 videos that we picked as winners, we should have picked 6, because there's 2 per commercial to get the timing right on the commercials, and there's 3 edits, so one of them gets duplicated, and I think it's the zombie one gets duplicated, right? So yeah, if you were one of the ones that got picked, your commercial, and you have not been in the first one, yours is yet to come, but it will hit. the wonderful, illustrious, amazing, stupendous, lovable, delectable Christmas Sushi is the one who edited them all. So if you don't like the commercials, blame him.
If you don't like the commercials, blame that guy.
If you do like the commercials, it was all my idea. If you don't like the commercials, blame Chris. Seems reasonable.
That seems pretty accurate to me.
Seems reasonable. He says, I'll take that bullet. Nothing but love, Chris. Unless the commercials are bad, at which point in time, not my problem. Finding Chris in this group of guys has just been spectacular because Chris really is. He gets it. He's like, oh, what if we did this? I catch Chris and Jordan sitting out in a lawn chair.
Oh my God, it was so good. Oh, I can't wait for you guys all to see these.
It's so silly. Oh. Gabe's like, what are they doing out there? And I'm like, what? It's like Jordan and Chris are like out in the courtyard, and I think Jordan has a car sunshade, and it looks like he's tanning. It's so hilarious.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's pretty funny. Laugh it up there, fuzzball.
Just wait for the ones after that. Jason's just going to keep on asking, what the heck are you going to do next?
You've seen our commercials, right?
Yeah.
You know what comes out of my head.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's fair.
So, I'm like, fits right in. Fits right in. Games Played Poorly says, commercial idea, close-up of painting, I'm going to guess. You think it's Jason painting because of the tattoos in frame, but you pull out and it's Baby J covered in fake fresh ink, and we try to freeze frame to see what silly tats we can pick out. Dude, if I could figure out some way to draw a bunch of tattoos on Baby J, I would do it. Make him look like that Tekashi 6ix9ine guy. Give him like fake fronts. Stupid tattoos all over his face and neck. I don't know when rap artists decided that it was the thing to get their faces tattooed. Like, with just the most horrible garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tattooed, right? I have a lot of tattoos. But... a
lot of really... I have to say, a lot of Hollywood, a lot of those people have really crappy tattoos. Like, you go find somebody in a basement at 1 a.m. when you were drunk?
Yes.
The answer is probably yes, to be fair.
So I have a tattoo that was had in a group of people, of which Kat Von D was one, and we were all drunk on Hollywood Boulevard and walked in and got tattoos. And the dude was just like 6 ways to Sunday that he was getting to tattoo Kat Von D. And we all got a variation of the same damn tattoo to show how stupid we were. And then I promptly covered mine up as best as I could. So the memory remains, and a little bit of the tattoo remains. This stupid skull. It was a skull. And some of us got the skull with like bat wings. And somebody got the skull with a tongue sticking out. So we all have this.
Oh, I see it.
I can only cover up like half of the bat wing. So bad.
Oh, that's funny.
It's like my only tattoo regret is that damn skull. It's horrible. We had been at the Rainbow Room all night. And we're just walking, probably back to whatever parking lot somebody's car was in. Sunset, Hollywood Boulevard, somewhere in that neck of the woods. Horrible. My friend Glenn, it was his idea. And he got it like right smack out, like on the right below his elbow on his arm. He was so proud.
Isn't that like prime real estate?
So his whole tattoo thing was just like rando BS.
Ugh.
Like that. That was his whole, like everything. His sleeves and everything were just rando BS. That was the way he wanted it. He was like, I remember this day of my life. I can't fault that.
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, it's kind of rough. It's kind of rough to do it that way.
There are some pretty incredible and incredibly talented artists that do tattoos. Never ceases to amaze me.
You have 8 tattoos, but even you're resistant to necks and hands, let alone face. Yeah, I was very reluctant on the hands for a long time, and then I was just like, screw it.
Once you were there,
my biggest fear was not anybody and what they thought or how it looked. It was that I worked with my hands, welding,
yeah,
heating and bending metal, and you know, so it was always just a worry that I don't want them to look like, you know, like Jesse James has got this pay up suck on his palm, and that's the stupidest tattoo ever. Not the stupidest tattoo ever. There's a lot of stupider ones. But getting like the palm of your hand tattooed is bad because they just don't stay. That skin changes so quickly and is so prone to wounding and healing and wounding and healing, and so it just doesn't last. And same with knuckles and top of hand. You know, I was showing this. I think it was Gabe was asking. I have a tear tattooed on the inside of my finger, so I can be like, "Oh, it's a very sad story, baby J. I'm very sad for you." But anyway, I have a tear. You can see how well the tear has held up over the years.
Yeah, we're about 2 years away from you not being able to do it anymore.
E. Carlson, I don't even know. I've never even heard the music from these people. It's not something I pay attention to. So. The only thing I know is Jen will have this show called TMZ on. Everybody probably knows what it is. And it will always be talking about these famous rappers, and it just is astounding to me. I'm like, I've never heard this person before in my life, but of course I'm an old idiot. So new music is beyond me. Drugs, money, and alcohol. What's that in regard to? Why you get tattoos?
The tattoo, yeah.
I've never done drugs. Well, okay, it's a lie. A side high for the first 10 of my years of my life because my parents smoked pot all the time, but got a plan. I've got the plan. The palm side of your fingers tattooed a few years back, and it's nearly faded completely, Ridge. Yeah, it's just not. It's because that skin revitalizes itself too often. So, as a tattoo artist, you would always try to. At least I would. You know, I had buddies. I was at Sturgis with all my tattoo gear once, and I was like, "Hey, you know, I'll be doing tattoos at the trailer. If you want one, come by." A buddy came by and wanted me to do the palm underside of his fingers, and I was like, I don't really want to do that. You know, it's never going to heal correctly, and you're not going to like it in like 6 months. So I didn't do it. I'm trying to kind of slop this blend of white blue and blue black on here just to get highlights set up real quick, and then I'll take the white blue. I think I'm going to skip a lot of the in-between layers, even though this is a big model. I'll skip a lot of the in-between layers, go straight to a very high contrast highlight across all the metallic that I'm doing here, and then come back and maybe use black wash over it. I have not been doing that on the other Blood Angel, so it will cause it to be a little bit different than the little guys. But you can get away with that on the big models sometimes because they are so much more plain to see, so to speak. So if you alter your paint scheme on them a little bit, your method, you can get away with it being like, it looks different because it's a big model, a lot more detail, whatever. Or it might make me really like the way it looks, and I have to go back and change all the other ones, which will suck. But
hopefully that is not the case.
But whatever.
But whatever.
We'll pull a Baby J. We'll just change it all halfway.
Look, thing I do, sometimes I've got a really strong idea in my head of how I want it, and it works perfectly the first time. Other times I'm like...
Other times?
Other
times I can change that.
Yeah, once I can get my hands on some masking, I'm just going to mask off all the silver on this. I'm going to spray this differently.
Yeah, I know you were saying that you just didn't think you can handle it. Nothing wrong with that, man. You do it till you like it.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
And I think mostly because I just want it to look a little bit more airbrushed.
Oh, you're watching my dread over here, and you're
like... Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. I'm like, gosh, dang it. I could have done this so much better.
Dreads are hard, right? Because even that guy, even though he's more curvy, he does have big flat panels that the airbrush just does so much more justice to, like the knees and all that. I just really love it. That's why on most of the dreads I won't do brush paint for the armor. And also why doing too much weathering to it can bust that up and drag it back to where you've lost that contrast on it. So it's always a give and take with big dreads and vehicles and things like that. So.
Well, I think that's one of the other things that you do much better than I do is your airbrushing is way better than mine. You've also been doing it a lot longer.
What's that?
Your airbrush skills.
Oh, airbrushing. How long you haven't?
I mean, I've done it a lot, enough to be very proficient at it.
I was gonna say.
I think your level of airbrushing skills is significantly better than mine.
Have you considered switching Livestream to YouTube, Xenophonetic? You only asked because I wish I could put this on your TV, but it's not so easy. There's no TV app. There is a Twitch TV app, but it's not good at all.
Oh, really?
But to go back to your question, we have. It's a good question to ask chat. There's enough of you guys here. We've thought about it. We are partnered on YouTube now. It took us a long time because we don't really focus on YouTube. We did get partnered on YouTube because one of the big things we wanted to be able to do was offer a similar level of interaction, emotes, and that kind of stuff on YouTube, which they don't set any of that up for you until you have, I forget what it is, 4,000 hours of watch time or whatever. So we finally got there. We don't monetize really, but we thought about doing it, and the sole reason is because the VODs are instantly on your YouTube channel without any interaction from us. So every stream that we do, all this content, all this interaction immediately goes to YouTube and can be rewatched. It's just a huge library company. I mean, remember we've been doing this for nearly 7 years. Had we been doing it on YouTube, we would have like the largest collection of painting videos on the planet right now.
Yeah, it'd be huge.
But we didn't, and we lost all that content, or a very large amount of it. So we thought about it. Yeah, the Amazon Fire Stick does, because Amazon owns Twitch, so that makes sense. Like Jen's saying. And yeah, Chromecast or the Apple iTunes thing. If you have Apple TV, you can cast it to your Apple TV, I think, too, but... A turd being plopped in the fishbowl makes better music than most of them. It definitely is not appealing to me. But we thought about it that you might start seeing us try a couple of days here and there, like 1 or 2 days a month, going over and streaming on YouTube. We might do some weekend streams just to test it out to get it all right. We're currently working on a new branding overlay to go with a new website update that we're doing on the whole branding for Monument Hobbies. So there's a lot of visual change, and so when all that comes down the pike, we probably would launch it in both places. We were waiting too for the new Twitch partner contract to come out. We've been partnered with Twitch for like over 6 years, and we've never been able to broadcast live anywhere else. It was part of our partner contract that if you were broadcasting live, Twitch had the rights to that. You had to broadcast on Twitch. You couldn't simulcast, and you had to leave it on Twitch for X amount of time before you could port it over. They made it to where then they gave us a little bit of ground where as soon as the stream is done, we could export it to YouTube, right? So it was only exclusive to Twitch while you were live. Now they've gone a step further and said that you can stream on other platforms as well, just not simultaneously. So we have to stream on YouTube and not on Twitch. So there are some apps that let you simulcast, which would be great. But as a partner on both platforms, we can't do that. So we will probably do a couple of streams on YouTube, see how everybody likes it. Obviously, we hate the fact that our community on Twitch we've built up over all these years is here. The ability to raid, the ability to watch other streamers in our community on Twitch. There aren't enough on YouTube. Gabe says he found a raid feature. It's not called raiding, but they have a feature where you can do something similar. But there would be a disconnect there for us, and we just have to get used to it. So we're thinking about it. We've thought about it in the past, and when we would go stream on YouTube in the old days, like 7 years ago or something like that, 7 or 8 years ago, it was just there's no community for live stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
People don't think about YouTube in their head yet as a place to go get live stuff. You go on demand. Yep. You go to YouTube when you have a few extra minutes.
Yeah.
So, but we're thinking about it. Brushes came in yesterday, Froggy. Nice. You were worried about brushes because the corner was crushed on the box. All of our brushes are in protective cases, so it should never be a problem. But glad they were safe. You see that hat slicked back like Ken Griffey Jr.? What? I just do this because it gets in the way of the camera lens if I'm not careful the other one. And because I don't want to subject you people to my beautiful do. Because this show is not about sex. This show is not about tempting you with my wily beauty. So we put it behind a hat.
I mean, you are the pretty one.
We put it behind a hat. It's just the way it works, man. Just the way it works. My lovely locks are not what this show is about. Now, my feet, on the other hand, let's switch to feet cam real quick. We need a feet cam.
They got to pay extra for that.
It's just like, dude, and like shoes. It's just my shoes, my Skechers. My Skechers.
I need new shoes. My shoes are so...
So I have been saying for the last 2 weeks, Jen's heard it a bunch of times, that I am going to trade up to another pair of these shoes because I bought 3 pairs at the same time. I've already been through one. This is the second pair. Started last year. I have 1 pair left. Yeah. So I keep telling her I'm going to switch out. I'm going to get my laces laced up in my new shoes, and it's going to be so much better because these are starting to hurt my feet. It's been 2 weeks now. 2 weeks.
You're still in the old ones?
I'm still in the old ones. Guess where the new ones are?
House?
Right by my desk in my office, right here.
Go put them on.
No. I want to be able to bitch about it. I've been watching YouTube and Twitch and Instagram, and I want to be part of the solution, so I'm bitching about it. I seem like a Vans kind of guy. Punisher, I wore Vans forever. Vans are not really good shoes, though. I was part of the wave. I skateboarded forever, and everybody was wearing Vans, and I was one of the first that had, like, we bought the old Jordans, like, when they first came out, and Jordans became the best skate shoe ever, and nobody could understand why we were buying Nikes, you know. That wasn't punk rock enough.
Turns out it's better.
Yeah. This particular, I wore some Skechers before. They were horrible, but these Skechers I really like, and I can't tell you what they are. I don't know. But they're great shoes.
They're your bitching shoes.
They're my bitchin' shoes.
They are bitchin', and I also bitch about them.
Your limited edition Spider-Man slip-ons as regular shoes, and well, there's that. Limited edition shoes seems like an oxymoron anyway.
My shoes used to be so bright that they blinded people, and now they look gray. And they're orange.
Looks like it's bringing over more eyes over from YouTube, which can only be a good thing for other channels. Ridge, explain what you mean. An influx of YouTubers in our hobby starting to stream on Twitch lately. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Oh, yeah, a lot of them are looking at ways that, you know, and this is being very blunt, but the monetization on YouTube sucks. So if you're a content creator and your Patreon is not growing, and summertime in the hobby is usually a kind of a, not a flat line, but it plateaus.
There's a lull.
There's a lull in the summertime because a lot of people are out doing other things. Hobby dollars are not the same. It's just a trend industry-wide. You'll see a lot of big releases happen in the summer, like 10th edition and things like that, because it's a great way to bolster where sales would normally be a little bit flat. And so you might be seeing that. I don't know, because we don't run a Patreon. We don't do that. But I can see that the way to monetize and grow your passion as a hobby needs to branch off to as many places as possible. And YouTube monetization is garbage. Even for those people that are getting a tremendous amount of views over there, they've reduced the revenue from their commercial sharing to a point to where I've heard a lot of people say it's just not worth the effort of what they have to put in to edit their videos. And so you'll see a lot of very big YouTubers now talk about their Patreon a lot. And so Patreon has become that vehicle for going and getting people to subscribe who like the content that you put all that effort into. And of course, then you might paywall some of it or whatever. I don't mean that negatively. But Twitch is a way that you can interact with people live. It gets a really cool community built up. And the monetization can be different because of the donations and the subscriptions and all of that is monetized a little bit better on Twitch. Yeah. Nikes were great for skating, but you kept wearing out the sides from ollies. That was why the first Jordans were really good, because they had a big triple layered leather patch on the outstep by your part of the pinky outstep, that bone there, right? Which was your ollie bone. So they actually were very good.
Which one is the again? I forget what.
Where you pop the board up, all four wheel. You basically kind of like slap the tail down, kick on the nose once it's up in the air, and it goes up and flattens out, so you can jump it over things.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Oh, nollie.
Yeah. Definitely familiar with the
limited edition Spider-Man Vans. The slip-ons were always great because they were good lazy man shoes. They just never lasted for me. I've rolled my ankle so much in Vans, and shoes that have a more stable connection point for the upper to the sole always wound up being better for me. I didn't really like high tops. Like the Nikes were high tops, and I didn't exactly like that part because I didn't like my ankle captured either. But it was very funny for me. Vans are just so loose because of the canvas attached. So like I could never skate in Chuck Taylors because the Converse shoes were. It's like there's no stability on your foot to the sole, and if you're
you'd hate my shoes.
Yeah, I just can't do it. Those
my
like meshy ones
like
that are like fabric. No, I gotta have it. I need a stiff upper.
But they're fine for walking in.
My dad had Adidas that were from a tennis player, and I can't ever remember what the guy's name was. They were just white Adidas with a green tag in the back, plain white, no Adidas stripes on them or anything.
No Adidas stripes.
No Adidas stripes on them or anything. They were tennis shoes, true tennis player tennis shoes, and I love those damn things.
Oh, it was like Adidas tennis shoes that weren't branded.
They said Adidas on the back, and they had the little three flower looking thing on there. But
but it didn't have the lines.
Didn't have three stripes on it. Mm-mm. Somebody will know. Angus Young, all white Reeboks. A Ryan Schechter board. When you're starting back in the day, you also skated zero. We were all Santa Cruz and Zorlak kids. We skate. I was in Dallas, Texas, and so Jeff from Zorlak, his shop was like down in downtown, and I would go down there and help him screen print boards, and he would give me shirts and boards. So we were Stan Smiths. Yes, Stan Smiths. And so the if you know about Zorlak, I don't know if they exist anymore, right? Well, they stopped existing, but I think somebody brought it back and like bought the name, but it isn't Jeff anymore, I don't think. And so Zorlak Skateboards was in Dallas, Texas, and was a very punk rock brand. I loved it. And he had boards for like the Big Boys, which was like a skate rock band. I'm trying to think of who else he had. He had one of the Wild Ones from Houston. Good God, what was that guy's name? I'm not going to remember any of these kids' names. But Pusshead, who, if you know that kind of era of skate artwork, Pusshead always did like the shrunken heads and zombies and, really kind of horror-esque artwork. And Pusshead did all the art for Zorlak. And so it was always fun. You'd blow out bearings just trying to do anything. Yeah, this is back in the day, man. Zombie Zach says, hell yeah, rep Dallas. Yeah, Pusshead started doing art for like Metallica and things like that. Yep. A lot of the skate rock bands back in the day. A lot of people tried to imitate that artwork. Yeah, but Pusshead was doing all the artwork. Got to meet him down at the Zorlak factory and all that. It was right downtown close to City Hall in Dallas, Texas for the longest time. It was just a sweatshop. No AC, nothing. Texas summer, garage doors open, screen press down, pressing boards. and screen and T-shirts, right? Because they did T-shirts and boards and T-shirts and boards and T-shirts and boards. And they were one of the first companies that had, like, the big boy board was like super wide. It was like 9 inches wide, which back in the day was stupid, right? Like maybe 9 or 10 inches wide.
It seems
stupid,
ridiculous.
Stupid. Well, this was before they went to where boards had the same nose and tail and were like 7.5 or 8 inches wide too. So big fat boards were kind of the thing. But they had like big squared off tails and pointy noses in some cases because they were still kind of like banana boards. It was kind of like the evolution of the banana board into something that you could actually do tricks with. So yeah, but yeah, if anybody knows about Dallas, that was the Dallas skate scene right there. Dan Wilkes, all those cats down there were buddies of mine. We skated at the clown ramp at what's that lake called? I'm not gonna remember the lake.
I cannot help you with that one.
I'm not gonna remember the lake. Bachman Lake by Love Field. Bachman Lake, clown ramp, skate time. What the hell was that guy that owned Skate Time? Big burly black dude. So fun. What the hell was that guy's name? Melvin. Melvin from Skate Time. Only skate shop in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Was down at Bachman Lake. It was a doghouse, basically. It was like a place where nowadays you would go up to, and it was like, I mean, literally it was like a building you would buy at Home Depot out in the parking lot to put in your backyard, right?
Yeah.
It was that kind of a thing. It was secured to the ground. It had an electric pole out of it, but you could fit 2 people in Skate Time. They had 1 or 2 racks that had shirts on them, and then the wall just had boards and stuff all over it. And they had 1 little desk that could fit maybe the other 2 people behind it, and everybody else had to sit outside. It was tiny. If that thing was 20 feet by 20 feet big, I'd be surprised.
Wow.
Now, I'd go there and look at it, and maybe it is actually bigger than that, but I don't think so. It was crazy. But this is back when nobody cared about skateboarding. Melvin was a hero. He never skated in his life. He just loved it. He loved having all the kids be able to come down to the clown ramp and hang out. It was great. Great proponent of what is now a sport. Back then was just a thing that would get you beat up in parking lots if they caught you. Good old days. Never as good at vert skating as I was at street skating, but I enjoyed it a lot.
What's vert skating?
That's ramps, vertical.
Okay.
Ramps that go up to a vertical, usually have about a foot of vert at the top, pool coping or tile at the top for grinds. We when I was growing up, we had a skate park in Dallas that was, God, I'm going to say it was off of Skillman and Northwest Highway kind of area, but I don't think that's right. I think it was further north than that. It had it was next to a miniature golf place that had a big Tyrannosaurus Rex, like big, fiberglass Tyrannosaurus Rex out front.
That's wild.
I don't remember what the hell it was called. But I went there once, and it was a concrete skate park with, pool bowl and long snake lines and stuff like that. And I remember that scared the hell out of me as a kid. It was one of those where I sat there with my board in my hand and people just kept dropping past me into the lane and I wouldn't do it. My dad was like, if you're not going to skate, we're going home. I was like, no, I'll do it. I wouldn't do it. He'd finally be like, all right, we're going home. He didn't have patience for it. And I'd finally do it, bust my butt, realize I didn't die, go do it again.
It was the first time. It's the hardest, right?
Well, yeah, but that's back when I literally had a banana board with City Street wheels. I don't know how many of you guys are old skateboard heads, but if you know what I'm talking about, F up in chat. City Street wheels, 78 durometer freaking things that if you hit a rock, a big chunk of the wheel would come off. Because they were so squishy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Or even better yet, my first skateboard had those red see-through plastic wheels that were such a hard durometer that if you hit the same rock, it would just stop the board.
What?
Yeah, if you're rolling along, if the wheel is very hard and you hit a rock, the skateboard just stops.
Wow.
If you have a very soft wheel, it just goes over the rock, but the rock can take a chunk of the rubber out, right?
Oh my gosh.
It's called durometer, the hardness level of plastics. And so I had a board at first that the wheels were so freaking hard that every time I hit a rock, I'd just fly, because I would like to skate very fast. I hit a rock, and he'd just fly off. So my dad changed the wheels and got these things that were City Street. They were called City Streets was the company. I don't remember who made it. I think it was just City Streets. City Streets. And they were so soft that they got torn up real quick, and he'd get mad at me. Stop messing up your skateboard. I'm not buying you another one. I was like, I'm just skating. I'm not doing it on purpose. Back in the day when if you wanted to buy trucks for your skateboard, you had two choices initially. You had Independent and Gullwing. That was it. Then Tracker came along. And then my hero of all heroes, Gary Scott Davis, I think is his name, GSD, skated for Tracker. And I cut all my boards to his shape on my dad's bandsaw before I realized that was a bad thing to do. And then I got to meet the guy, and he was such a butthead.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that I learned. That was when you learn never meet your heroes. He was an ass.
It was like the worst experience when you're like really excited to meet somebody.
Zombie Zach, am I talking about Lively Skate Park? I don't know. It was I wouldn't even be able to tell you where it was. I feel like it was somewhere out towards North Dallas, like Richardson, like between coming back on Richardson down like Abrams or something like that. What would have been the east side of Central Expressway, kind of in between Dallas and Richardson. I want to say it would have been south of the 635, like just south of the 635. Right? It's amazing I can remember all of this as I'm going into my hindbrain here and trying to drag information about my childhood out. I feel like it was around that place. Says you believe I'm talking about Lively? Yeah, I cannot remember anything about the name. Yeah, board stops. Turns out you don't.
Yeah, your momentum carries you.
Turns out you don't. Avian Thulium, yeah, 1970s is what we're talking about. The 70s. I mean, you got to remember that up until mid 80s, the only skateboards you could buy were, the plastic banana boards at the grocery store and sporting goods stores. Very, very hard to get anything out of California. Powell Peralta started coming in somewhere around 84, 85 maybe. I might have my years off, but you could get some Powell boards. There was a skateboard manufacturer that started with, I want to say it started with a K. Kryptonics, I think. Kryptonics. It was like the one everybody made fun of. If you had a Kryptonics board, everybody made fun of you. Because it was like half the price of a normal board. It was only sold at like Oshman Sports and the grocery store. That was after the skating craze had hit and kids were starting to get into it heavier. You have Kryptonics board with Kryptonics truck, Kryptonics wheels, Kryptonics grip tape. It was Kryptonics everything. But it was affordable. Skateboards were not affordable, it turns out.
Were they really expensive?
Oh my God. For a kid my age, with my family not wanting to like buy you a bicycle for Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
It was rough. That's it's funny because it's one of the reasons that I would get like a job early in high school was because skating was so expensive. Until we got sponsored, right? Until we started to be sponsored by Zorlac and then Santa Cruz. Then you started getting some of your stuff for free. Not much, but you get like a board a month or something like that. Turns out when you skate hard, they don't last.
Yeah. I never would have thought about
Technology's a lot better these days, but it's still.
I never would have thought about the fact that you'd like burn through boards.
Oh yeah. I forget what company it was, but somewhere before I quit, there was a company that came out. I want to say it wasn't H Street, but it was something that may have come downstream of H Street, and which may not mean anything to any of you guys. But it was like called a hard deck. It had a layer of Kevlar in the middle.
Oh, what the heck?
Something they tried, which is back when Kevlar was super expensive. So of course the board was really pricey. I mean, the board might have been like $80 for the slab of wood. I don't remember. It's pretty expensive. And I remember that deck being my favorite deck of all time. That it would flex so much more. You were minus a laminate layer of wood, so it was a little thinner, but it had a layer of Kevlar in
which
there
made
instead.
it more flexible.
That board would crack through some of the layers and still stay stable.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you finally destroy it, because the problem is you nose into stuff because you kick your board out, so the nose will get dented or the tail will get dented, and when you gnawed through to that Kevlar layer, Kevlar starts to kind of thread out. It's almost like having a layer of canvas in there or something like that, and then it would delaminate really bad as soon as you exposed it. So
yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. Mo, you remember the when the H Street video hit? Were you that kind of a skatehead? When the H Street video hit, when the Bones video hit, I don't remember if it was Bones 1 or if they had done one before and it was like but anyway, the Bones video where it was the first Tony Hawk, and they really had done a produced deal, and everybody was like, oh my god, we had to go to somebody's house because they got the Bones video. We went to Skate Time because Melvin had the Bones video playing on this little bitty color TV up on the shelf, and you'd go just stand there outside the door because you couldn't fit in the shop, hoping you could kind of watch the Bones video to look at the tricks they were doing. Paint Liquor says that's not a dinosaur, Baby J.
Yeah. Hey, look, I've had an indecisive couple of days.
He's been very indecisive. You remember ollieing in place and cracking your butt bone? I remember ollieing at high speed and cracking my butt bone. The worst injury I've ever had in my life was skating at a ditch called Whip and Dip in Dallas, Texas. It was down between the I-35 and 635 freeways, Harry Hines Boulevard, and there was a ditch that was right on the corner there at Harry Hines and 635. I don't remember what the cross street was, or like a T intersection there, right as you went under the bridge. The ditch was called Whip and Dip, and on one end of it, by Harry Hines Boulevard, it was very steep transition, so it was really harsh. Like when you would go into the ditch, it was like as you went through the bottom. It didn't have a bold transition. It wasn't smooth. It was like, it wasn't square edged, but it was very tight.
Yeah.
But it was fast. Oh my god, because it was short. The walls at Whip and Dip on that end were probably like 5 feet tall. So like when I was standing in it, you could look over the edge of the ditch, right? So it was fast as hell. Steep, quick, you had to roll in, you go down, you could do tons of tricks. That's where all the like pros and AMs skated on, right? So we would just absolutely shred that side of the ditch. But if you went down the ditch and through the tunnel under the highway, it opened up in between the highway, and it was a huge, like they were probably maybe 8-foot sides, 8-10-foot sides. And then it had a very mellow transition, more like a bowl over there. For some reason, when they poured the concrete over there, it was just taller and all that.
Yeah. So
it was slow, but you could get so much speed and you could do tricks all the way down it, right? Because it had these mellow transitions, didn't beat you up so bad. So you go skate the big side. Well, one day we skated the small side all day long. You could park your car in a grass field right by it. So we had parked, we had drinks and stuff like that. We've been there all afternoon, beat up. We go in to do the big side. And we get over there, and there would always be like rando pieces of plywood out because, the dirt would wash out and the lip of the concrete and the ground never really matched. So you'd have a piece of plywood that ran up, and lots of parking curbs you put across the top for doing tricks on. And we went over the big side just to do some carving and have some fun over there before we left. And we did a couple runs, and then it was that famous hold my beer quote. It was that famous hey, one last run, but you got to start at the top by the freeway. So you get up by the guardrail on the freeway and through the grass and then hit the plywood and then go in from there. So you get a ton of speed and you just go carve this huge line and you could go like the whole distance off of this thing. So it's like, okay, cool. So we went one guy goes, next guy goes, my turn, I go, coming down, get on the plywood, and the plywood slips down and my front trucks hit the concrete embankment at like as fast as you could be going. Front trucks hit the concrete embankment. I wake up. So I'm awake at this point.
And this is on the 8-foot one, right?
This is on the big side. I wake up. I don't remember anything past... I wake up as they're dragging me through the tunnel because we're on the other side of the freeway, so you can't go across the freeway. You have to go through the water tunnel where the drainage tunnel goes, right?
Yeah.
So they're carrying me, one guy with my feet and 2 guys with my shoulders, carrying me through the tunnel. And I remember this like it was yesterday. it's like this weird movie scene where you go from pure black to you can hear audio, and the audio is like traffic sounds and cussing. Loud traffic noises and just cursing. Just F word after F word and GD it and S and F and all that stuff. And as my vision comes in, it's me cursing. I'm the one cursing as they're carrying me out. And I was completely knocked out. My brain was mad, so it was cussing.
Yeah.
And so they're carrying me out, and they get me in the car and take me to the hospital. I had hit the front deal, flown all the way across the expanse of the ditch, which was, who knows, I'm going to say it was 20 feet, 15 feet side to side. So, and landed like this, concussed and knocked myself out, hit my head.
Yeah.
Dislocated, shattered an inch worth of my collarbone as my shoulder hit. Dislocated my shoulder, shattered an inch of my collarbone, bones floating around on the inside. Dislocated or fractured my ankle from how the impact hit down there somehow. Road rashed the entire right side of my body, on the back of my shoulder and down the side of my body and all that. They're carrying me, just some dudes, just my friends, But, I mean, if you're like 15 or 16, I don't remember how old I was, 15, 16 years old. If you're 15 or 16 years old and you got to carry your other 15 or 16-year-old friend back to your brother's car to get him out of there, and everybody's already late getting home because we should have left an hour ago.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's being gentle.
No.
So they're ragdolling me into the car, drive me to the emergency room, and leave.
Oh, no. They just leave you there?
Well, because they were late. The brother who drove us had to go to work that night, worked at like fast food restaurant. He had to go to work and couldn't miss it. So he had to go home, and nobody else had a ride. So everybody, I don't blame them, but they were all like, "Are you cool? We've called your mom because no cell phones, so they had to call from the hospital. We called your mom. God. She's on your way. You gonna be okay?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm still cussing. I hurt really bad in the emergency room at some hospital. I don't remember where it was, and Baylor Medical or something like that. And then they split because they had to get home to go to work. God. It was so hilarious, so hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Natus Capus, Satan himself. Yo, man, Chad's got the new vid. Let's go. Yeah, the 8th Street vid was great. Matt Hensley, right? Matt Hensley did like a session in the 8th Street video. Boy, this is like the Wayback Machine today. Matt Hensley skating in the 8th Street video was some of the most amazing video footage we had ever seen as skaters. This kid came out of nowhere, never heard of him before, as a street skater, did things we were like, wait. And we'd immediately go outside and start and be like, what the? And there's no video in your hand.
Yeah.
Run back inside, sit down, rewind the VHS, play it. Okay. Go back out and try it again. He did the first Ollie Impossible that I'd ever seen, which is where you would Ollie, but your back foot would flip it. So not only did you jump the board, but your back foot rotated it 360 degrees around your back leg, and then you'd land it.
Oh, yep.
Right?
Yeah.
He did the first, and then he did it in Ollie. He did it off the nose. And this is in a time where, this sounds stupid to people out there because now kids do that,
all the time.
Spin the board 5 times.
Yeah.
But back then it was like. So we would spend hours in front of that thing, watching it, rewinding it, watching it, rewind it, watching it, rewind it. It was like the first 10 minutes of a porn video. You couldn't watch it because it was too grainy, because you'd watched the heads up. You didn't catch that. That was a good joke. Totally went over his head. That was a good joke, chat. Matt Hensley's part of the video was like the first 10 minutes of a porno. Is this an old guy joke? Nobody understands? Nobody knows VHS. You ever own VHS tapes? Yeah. Okay.
I would never rewind them and run them through enough to wear them out like that, though.
Yeah, he did a kick flip. He did a heel flip and a kick flip. It was stupid. Like, when you saw that stuff, you were like, what? Well, that weren't the first kick flips, because you had Rodney Mullen from the Bones video who was doing stuff like that, but that was called freestyle. And freestyle was like nerd stuff. It was the skating that nerds did. Because you stayed in one place and bounced around on the board and flipped it around and did all these things that were more acrobatic, but not in full motion, And Roddy Mullen is a phenom. He was absolutely amazing at skating in general, but he did this stuff that none of us were paying attention to because it wasn't hardcore. Yeah. It wasn't like, jumping off loading docks over cars, which is
rad.
You always wanted a freestyle board? Yeah, Rodney Mullen was one of the greatest skaters of all time. Kind of at the time, people that knew skating really well elevated him to where he was like better than Tony Hawk. He was the guy that was most amazing when you went to the skate park and were watching him skate. And I saw Rodney Mullen in Southern California when I was out there. Saw him skating at one of the NSA tournaments that were there, and you got to see like Mark Gonzalez and Gator Roskowski before he murdered somebody, and all these other people. And Rodney Mullen, when you saw him live, you were like, "What the absolute hell is this guy doing?" But on video, it was never as intense because it was never like full motion. It was never like ollieing down 15 stairs and all this stuff. So
it's crazy. It's definitely crazier seeing a lot of that kind of stuff in person. Because it's more real. You're there. You're seeing it. It's happening.
Well, the crowd's roaring and
the
energy's there. I hated skating in tournaments. I sucked at tournaments. I would always stage fright my way into fouling up tricks that I was always going to pull. I'm going to use the rest of this paint, then we'll call it quits.
All right.
I don't want to waste. My paint. Oh, the days of skating. It was funny, in California, I took part in Big Brothers Big Sisters for 6 years. I mentored a little brother from Anaheim, California. And at one point in time in that mentorship, so I was with him from the time he was 11 to the time he was 17, I think. Or 10 to 16, I don't remember. Same kid, Ulysses. And at one point in time, he got really interested in skateboarding. And, when I told him I used to skate, he was like, yeah, whatever. And then he saw photographs and stuff like that, and whoa, okay. There were issues of Transworld Skateboard magazine that had the crew that I skated with in them and stuff like that. So, he saw some photos of us. And he was like, "Oh, this is real." And so he had a skateboard, and I went and bought a skateboard. And that was the worst thing I ever did in my life. Not the worst, but up there with some of the worst things I've done in my life was think that as an, what would I have been then? This was 2006-ish, probably. 2005, 2006-ish. So, what would I have been? 35, 36 years old? Yeah. But 35, 36, after having not been on a skateboard in, I don't know, forever. I was like, I play hockey all the time. I can do this. I could not do this.
I could not do this.
I could not do this. It was one of the hardest things in my life to go skating with this kid who looked up to me so great and had seen these pictures and all this fun stuff, and then sees me get on a board, and I go and, go to like grind a curb and nearly kill myself, because I think one of the hardest things in life is when you go back to do something you used to do really well and you realize that you can't do it at all anymore.
Yep.
Because I was going hard. I was like, all right, here's how you skateboard. And I was like, what? I didn't hurt myself really bad, but I could have had I not been like, maybe this isn't for me anymore.
Yeah.
My adult brain cell kicked in, and he's like, it's okay, man. So he taught me a lesson there. I wound up giving him that board.
I think it's time for me to not be doing this.
If you stepped on a board now, you break your skull. Well, it's been another 20 years since then. Holy hell, man. That ain't going to happen. I stopped playing hockey in 2016 or 17. I shouldn't have done that, but I didn't have insurance, and I had hurt my knee, and I was really afraid that it was going to get bad. So I stopped playing hockey. That's been 7 years ago now. And there's points in time where I'm like, I need to get back in shape, and I should start skating again. And then I'm like, that's probably the wrong way to do that. Because even though I have insurance now, I'm not trying to use it.
Just skate home. You don't have to do anything crazy.
Just skate home. Just hit a rock and fly off.
Well, don't do that.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing. That day has come and gone. I enjoyed that time of my life. I ain't trying to relive it. I don't have to. Got nothing to prove. There was a time where a buddy of mine who had been a sponsored skateboarder got sponsored as part of his sponsorship. One of his manufacturers also made, maybe it was his wheel manufacturer, also made stuff for inline skates. So he started inline skating competitively, and I was like, "What is this nonsense?" That was worse nerd stuff than freestyle skating.
Yep.
And then he showed me doing handrails and stuff like that, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I gotta do this. This is rad." And so I got him to get me a pair of skates from his manufacturer, cheap, and promptly learned that ain't nothing like skating on the ice. Because I thought I was gonna show him up. I was like, I ice skate. This will be easy. Turns out I've been wrong a few times in my life. It's funny because through that, though, I did wind up coaching a midget inline skate team. Midget being an age group, not a derogatory term towards dwarves. So don't get mad at me.
Don't get mad at me.
Midgets is 14 to 16 kids. Their term, not mine. I coach midget floor hockey, not floor, inline hockey for a while.
Friday.
It is Friday, man. I can't get over it. Like the weekend is here. We got to go get Leviathan, don't we?
We do.
Did you talk to them?
I'm gonna call Luke after the stream.
You didn't do the call.
I didn't do the call. I'll talk to him.
Now we got to go tomorrow. Because I'm not staying up till midnight tonight to go get that shit either.
No. God, no.
I know a lot of places wind up doing the midnight release thing, and I don't have it in me.
My guess is when I call him and talk and ask, like, what's the best time to come in tomorrow, he's probably be like, honestly, come in at open, it's probably fine.
Yeah. They're going to process people through pretty quick.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I just don't want to have to fight through a tremendous amount of nerds. Although Old World is a fun place, so I don't mind hanging out with Luke for a minute if he's there. I need to buy something to proxy as an attack bike. Anybody know anything about Space Marines and the size of the Primaris buggy? Does the Primaris, like ATV, whatever the hell that thing's called, would it suffice as a attack bike?
It's a lot bigger.
It's not, though, I don't think. I think it's the same length as the Outrider motorcycle.
A lot wider.
I don't think it is. The attack bike has a sidecar. I think it's the same width. I think that you get.
Oh, you're talking about the one with the sidecar.
That's the attack bike.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't understand what you were talking about.
Yeah, the regular bikes are not, but the attack bike has a sidecar on it, right?
Yes, I believe.
The attack bike is 55 points, and I'm able to put one in my list as my final 55 points for Blood Angels, because there's nothing else as cheap in Space Marines other than Servitors, but I'm an assault army, so Servitors don't have anybody to attach to.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
ATV is quite a bit bigger. Is it, though? Is it
I'll
bigger than... okay, forgive me. Not the standard attack bike, because it's Firstborn Marines and it's fairly short, but the Outrider motorcycle, is it much bigger than the Outrider if it had a sidecar on it? It looks very similar, so I'm just wondering if it would allow... Like, would anybody get mad at me if I came in and said, okay, here's my attack bike?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Because my thought is, if it is, I'll just hack it up, because I have some Outriders I've never used. I've never even put them together. But I could put some Outrider, take an Outrider or two and hack them up and blend them with it, because the buggy at least has a dude on the back that I could have fire the melta gun. I just don't want any Firstborn Marines in this army, size-wise.
Primaris Invader ATV, right?
Yeah, it's the Invader ATV. About the same size as a land speeder. That's what I was thinking. The attack bike is kind of like that. width-wise. I know it wouldn't be perfect. And it sounds like I'll probably just have to do a quick conversion, like cut the back of the ATV off and make it into a sidecar on one of the Outrider bikes, so that I have Primaris size attack bike. Because the ATV is kind of the Primaris attack bike.
I don't
That's what
actually
it is.
see it on their website anymore.
Yeah, it's there. Primaris ATV.
No, I see that.
The attack bike you don't see?
Yeah. I'm looking again. Maybe I missed it. Oh no, there it is. I don't know if this is the Primaris one or not.
It's so hard. I like Rob, but I don't buy 3D printed stuff from Rob anymore because they don't take the sprues off. I had a long conversation with him about it. I know he gets mad at me when I say that, but you got to take the sprues off, dude.
This looks like Firstborn Marines.
It's a sidecar motorcycle. It's the only one in the Space Marines, so.
But I don't think this is this isn't Primaris though, right?
The attack bike is not Primaris.
Oh, okay, yeah. But you're talking about
They don't make a Primaris attack bike. I need something that's Primaris size because my entire army is true scale.
Got it. Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out how, with low maintenance, I can get an attack bike because the points work.
It is going to be significantly smaller. Well, I say significantly, it will be smaller.
Well, okay, yeah, but remember what I'm saying is that an Outrider motorcycle, let's just say if I were doing a true scale motorcycle, right, I would want to use the Primaris Outrider bike. It's bigger, so what I'm thinking is if the Primaris Outrider bike could be a proxy for a regular Firstborn bike, then how would I take that and size it into an attack bike? And because the ATV is like this, it's like two Outrider bikes glued together.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that the only size difference between an Outrider attack bike is that left front wheel, right? The ATV is wider across the front, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that within its footprint, it's about the same. It just has more meat
if you were
at the
to
left
do an
front.
Outrider attack bike,
It
would be the
I think
same.
it would be fairly similar.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, 100%.
So that might be something that I do is just run the Invader ATV, so I don't have to actually change anything. But I might look at the kit and see. I'm going to buy the ATV when we go tomorrow, if they have one.
I can ask and see if they have one.
Because if I might just take the Outrider bike and cut the ATV back end off and make it a sidecar. Or what I'd really like to do is have the ATV or the Outrider bike have the other guy riding. Is it tandem? Yeah, tandem behind him instead of beside him. I think that would be cool.
Is there enough room on the back of that bike?
I'll make room.
Oh, they're gonna be nut to butt, my friend.
That's the way it'll be then.
And he's not gonna have a backpack on.
I will make it happen.
Yeah, they're very, very front heavy. The Outriders.
Oh, that's true, right? He sits almost at the back of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, so maybe I have to make it into a sidecar after all. Be a fun conversion. I just don't like doing that anymore.
You out of here, Gosu? Good night, friend. Have a good weekend. We will see you on the Mondays.
See you, Gosu.
Yeah, I think turning the ATV into the attack bike, I think, is the best.
It seemed like it. Like I got all excited. But then I was like, it's kind of big.
It is large.
But I don't know. I don't care, and I'm not planning on going to tournaments. So as long as around here people are cool with it, then I don't think it's a problem.
You could also just probably switch the weapon.
It has the same weapon loadout.
Does it actually?
Yep. The attack bike, I would be running with a Melta, and the ATV comes with a Melta. The ATV has the heavy bolt rifle for one of the riders. Yeah. So it has a little bit different weapon loadout profile, but it's modeled in a way that doesn't make a difference.
Right. And there is a Melta version.
Yeah, there's Melta versions of both. So the weapon loadout, it works perfectly.
Yeah, I have to I have to imagine they're.
Now I need to see who wearing a fez, Avian. What are we talking about? Where'd the fez come from?
Oh, yeah, multi-melta. Is this a regular or multi-melta?
Multi-melta.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, I would just literally.
The attack
use the
bike
ATV.
can replace the heavy bolter with a multi-melta.
Yep.
And the Invader ATV comes with a multi-melta option as well as the Gatling, Punisher Gatling cannon or whatever it's called.
Yep. That tracks. And I think the ATV looks really cool.
That's why I said, maybe the ATV would just be cool by itself, right?
Yeah.
And then I just have to tell people, yeah, it's not an ATV, it's an attack bike. Yeah, it's bigger, whatever. I ain't trying to get into close combat with it. It's not modeling for advantage.
I think it looks cool. I'm trying to see if there's.
It's only 85 points for the Invader ATV. I just don't have 85 points.
Trying to see if there'd be a way to like convert this into like a second seat. There might be.
It looks like you could.
It
It's
would
kind of hard because
require
they
a lot of
didn't give you a
modifications.
really good angle, but I think it could happen.
Yeah. Man, this thing is really cool. To be honest with you.
The Invader?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a horrible profile, but for its points, but
Oh, does it suck?
it's not great. None of the bikes are great. Attack bikes might be great at 55 points because they're super cheap.
Doing this up in the red would look really nice.
Mo, what's the deal with the fezzes? Who wants a fez? And why? Avian, you feeling okay? Alright, I'm out of paint. I get real stingy with the paint when it's custom mixed stuff in a bottle. I don't want to leave a puddle drying out. I use it all. Mo says I thought everyone had a fez. We have a fez. It's out in the other room, in the costume bag. In all of the masks and wigs that we have. Don't ask, but we have a lot of masks. And
I don't
wigs.
want to know.
You've seen our commercials, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Halloween one with me sitting on the toilet with a blonde wig? Okay, well that happened, and the blonde wig's out there. So, plus the Bob Ross wig. And that might be the only wigs we have. I think Jen's got a black hair wig for an upcoming commercial.
Well, shall we
Done.
say adieu?
Finished. Done. Thank you for hanging out with us. If you are new here, please smash that follow button. And you can catch up with us 5 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like today, is our hobby lunch. We do 12 noon to 2 Pacific. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, we start later at that 2 p.m. slot and go till 5 p.m. So a little bit later in the day for a little bit longer. But it gives you 5 chances to come hang out with us and talk about like my old skating ventures and smashing my collarbone and comic books.
And also painting.
And every now and then we paint things.
Yeah.
Eventually, I will finish this guy. He's coming along. It's just a lot of work doing the non-metallic on this guy. So
Yeah. And starting next week, I will have more concrete plans on what I want to work on. Give me the weekend to build up some stuff.
Oh, we got to do the Leviathan stuff. I'm technically doing a Leviathan now because
you're
this
fine.
is a Ballistus Dreadnought.
Yeah,
so
you're fine.
I'm already ahead of the game.
Yep.
I cheated. Ha, ha, ha.
I got to build some stuff.
Ha, ha. But thanks for hanging out with us.
Triplet, see ya.
Love seeing you. Make sure to follow
Oh.
those links that Jen threw up there in the chat for the store to grab your own Monument Hobbies goodies, some Pro Acryl, and some brushes, and some brush goop, and all the bags, and all the stuff you need.
All the stuff.
And then join us over on the Discord, a wonderful community of thousands of amazing artists just like yourselves. You can come over there, get some great inspiration, tell some fart jokes, talk about painting, show off your dog, what you had for dinner. It's just a great place to hang out. So we'll look forward to seeing you over on the Discord. Have a wonderful weekend. Stick around. We're going to find somebody to raid, so show love in the chat we wind up in. We'll see you on the flip side.
See you, folks.